The renegade. Man unafraid. Man in the wilderness. Keep it real and honest around here. No tabloid. I show you I got hot and spicy, because we have to speak truth to power. At them head, them fool. Let me tell you again, Andrew. Stop being like you're idiot. Mark Golden Banner Jamaica, you have the well false, I run out and attacks and kind of little things. So I talk about Seaga, right? Because Seaga, null and void, should never be a minister in Jamaica, much just a prime minister. Can't. Him not born in the Commonwealth, number one. Number one is not him not born, him not him mother, him father, none of them not born in Jamaica. Him born in Boston, US citizen. And him can't renounce, him never renounce. But he never renounce. Remember, him not renounce. Can we look it up? Him not renounce. Like, not never come up. But him could not have renounced and even run because him a US citizen not come from the Commonwealth. Null and void. And when take him and put for money just the other day. Without consulting nobody. And you look for a man about Jamaica and up and down. Remember enough things I got to do, you know. I'm going to name them tonight, people. Try to assassinate Bob Marley. Try to assassinate Michael Manley. Kill Claudia Masso. Kill Jim Brown. And you can name on and on. Forgot the 31 million where poor. Ed Cadon the whole sector. Yeah? Remember, he's not a Jamaican. He's not no Commonwealth citizen. Never born in the Commonwealth. And you take him and put for money. Make me start, me sure. Because them are idiot. And then was a prime minister for the whole of 9 years. And you look at a man who born in Jamaica and run up and down and people follow them. Them are idiot. Him can't renounce. Him cannot be null and void. Can't be. Him born in the US. Work with the CIA. But not even tired home. And him do it. All of these things. First M16. And him too. So much of our people them did. And him. The crosses. And then you look on a Jamaica and you want to talk about split. Split what? When you take all this piece of cross and put for money, make us start the show. Run this.
We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in a them and again. None of them boy, we none of them. We alone some rise up the bomber them.
Not a Judas, them a backstabber. I'm my wife, and this straight beauty and glamour. No guy can walk to name me with no dagger. Maybe the heart of Mandela, but the mind of a Zama in the mold. Like a bullman, we send us the glamour. Lyrically inclined, be a metaphor, so no listen to lyrics line to line. Become a lyrical theater. Put up in everything, they load some boy all in a hater.
Get ready again. Make it start. All right, people. So it's tonight. I'm going to show you say, Bad Marley know who shoot him and where to come from. Only be Manley. I'm going to show you say even tide home burn down at him. Because I don't care who him use. Remember, if you are the leader for the thing like a Bin Laden, then go for Bin Laden. And you have all the blame. You do this. But you born in our country and them have a little cold war up starting in the next country and the next country. Them have a little cold war. Man, they are friendly with Castro. Not with CIA. So I'm going to show you what Bob Marley say and when them shoot him, what him say after that. I'm going to show you the lyrics. You can read it for yourself. Saying, him know who shoot him. Them nearly assassinate Bob Marley too. See, we're going to talk about that. But I could go back to some of the video and I could hear who did in our place. And look what them do. Them take him and put for money. Put money. Was a prime minister for Jamaica for 9 years. I was the opposition leader from 1974 to 80 and again from 89 till him retire around 2006. And them not have a problem. You look on a Jamaica run up and down. And them not ban the Commonwealth. Not at all. So make with us start from one and one. I want to add up the thing and make a point it out to. So make us start from this. Listen, go. Listen, and remember, this is not my word. Remember, that's my way, not my word today. Yeah? Null and void. I run on the run with the nastiness, them with them little dirty thing. Yes? Yeah? Him couldn't talk about no renounce. There was nothing him renounce to Seaga because him born in the US. Him not born in the Commonwealth. So there is nothing for come and say me I renounce. So me a Jamaica now, you know, born there. You could have flipped another him work with CIA and fuck with you. You understand? Him not born in the Commonwealth. They was there. Not my word. Look here. Look here.
Lewis Wolf and his journalistic publications. Who is Lewis and what has he been doing over the years, and why is the government so outraged by him?
Well, his background is it's thoroughly legitimate.
I want to look on the ear when this come out for the 1982. Not my word. Phone word. Let's look.
Standard, if you will, journalism. He was assigned for a couple of years in Manchester, writing for a couple of prominent news organizations.
Manchester, England?
Yes, Manchester, England. And eventually made his way through London back to the United States, where he gravitated to a scrutiny of the CIA and the intelligence community, watching the revelations of the Church Committee, information that he had come across in his research, some of which he had published as part of news stories previously, other parts of which he was not permitted to publish by the nature of the press establishment. And so he put together with Bill Shapp and Ellen Ray the Covert Action Information Bulletin, whose function was to focus on the intelligence organizations of the United States and discuss and expose in a perfectly legitimate way the covert action activities of the CIA principally, as well as the other intelligence organizations. I believe they formed that in about 1976 and have been in Washington since, publishing stories of true stories. Their quality, their standards of journalism are exceedingly high. That bulletin is distributed in the State Department, and it's sold out the first morning that it's put on the stands in the State Department newsstands. They also publish in that bulletin the names of CIA agents and where they are now, as they're assigned and reassigned about the world. I believe that in very recent months they have ceased the policy of publishing names because the controversy is so hot, and they would just as soon. And also, it's never been their intention to break the law. They've made that clear from the outset. Bill Shapp is the brother. He is a highly competent attorney and is the brother of a top sportscaster in New York City. He is a very articulate man himself and has testified to the Senate many times against the names of Agents Bill, for example, and defending what he and Lou Wolf are doing. And after his testimony, many times senators have come up and shaken his hand and said, I disagree with you, but you certainly make your case for the legitimacy of what you're doing very well.
Let's take a look at some of the things which Lewis Wolf had to say, and we'll let you comment ever so often on this, okay? What, in the years that you've been publishing it, do you think are some of your most significant revelations? Are there some stories that even shocked you?
Well, I think one of the big stories that we were able to document in some detail was the whole scope of CIA activities, similar to what the CIA did in Chile, and which was documented by the Senate Select Committee, was the whole covert action program in Jamaica in between 1976 and 1980. And we did a great deal of research into that, and we discovered in many ways a very similar program, almost a classic model that was followed along the lines of what they did in Chile, including three major categories: military, paramilitary activity, the use of propaganda in the media, and the third one, which was economic warfare, using the multilateral organizations, the International Monetary Fund and others, to withhold loans which had been promised to the Jamaican government. This is one example.
What are a couple more of the details of that? You particularly mentioned those first two examples of actual paramilitary activity the CIA was involved in Jamaica.
There was a fire, for example, that took place in Jamaica of an old people's home. I think 150 old and infirmed women, many of them blind, were living in this home. And as it turned out, the place burned down in the space of about 8 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes. It was discovered that the phone wires had been cut and that the exits had all been blocked. Even those who could see their way out could not get out. That the means by which the fire was set was the use of a petroleum jelly, which was unavailable in Jamaica. This was one indication, among others, that there was outside help. Why would the CIA, you might ask, why would the CIA want to murder 150 old women? It was because it was an effort, part of a very large-scale effort to discredit the government in Jamaica, which was at the time headed by Michael Manley, the Prime Minister. There were images produced of Michael Manley in the media, in the Daily Gleaner, which was the newspaper which the United States, through the CIA, helped to support. And there is a good deal of evidence of that. There were images of Michael Manley showing a death mask. I mean, it was his face which had been somehow made to look like a death mask, although it was pretending to be a photograph of him. And there were many ways to try and discredit him. This is very, very similar, in fact, to what the CIA did to try and discredit Salvador Allende in Chile. If you remember...
So these are the people and one of them are work, CIA. So Bob Marley sing about the same CIA and Rasta and I work for the CIA. But I look on the note of them thing there. May I show you who shoot Bob Marley. You don't have to even question it. Who born down even time do my Seaga them? Seaga. So no care because CIA when them use a leader who use the youth them for do it. So everything depend him. You can't depend the CIA, depend him. You reject it, everything good. But tell me what? Because him American at the time him do this. And at this vast them for run out with. But them are trying to trick on you. Them can't rewrite history. See in front of you. I know where them are saying them can't tell me nothing. See that? Look here.
Richard Nixon instructed the CIA in a meeting which was in 1970 in the White House, and there was a document in the Senate report which is reprinted, and he said, "Make the economy scream." Those were his words, and that's of course what the CIA proceeded to do in Chile, and that's what they also did in Jamaica.
They also
make the economy scream. What them doing in Jamaica?
It furnished a lot of munitions and assistance to the terrorist squads that were going around killing people in the
terrorist squad, not my word. Remember we have guns to the not my word, the terrorist squad, and I say I got head the terrorist squad. Going around and getting away people. Yeah, not my word. Yeah? You know I play? Them are part of it too, people. But when I play this, I remind myself, when you see them I run up and down, I remind them say I got to be illegal. For even a prime minister. Him and Mark Jr. in the same class. He was not Commonwealth citizen. He mother and father no born in Jamaica. But him sit down as an agent and sit down and destroy we. And you put him power money. And you run up and down with Mark Jr. like we need that. Hey, all gloves off. Play this. Yeah.
in the cities and also in the countryside in Jamaica as well.
That's correct.
Well, John, you had a trip down to Jamaica and you saw a lot of these things about Jamaica with your own eyes, right?
Yes, indeed. A very moving, a very interesting trip to me to see a target country at a time in the height of a CIA operation when I was completely outside. So there's no way that I could see the problem that journalists have always had when the U.S. government was targeting on a country in a situation, trying to destabilize it, overthrow or manipulate the elections or whatever, of trying to figure out what's going on when you don't have access to all of the flow of cables and the discussions in National Security Council meetings and whatnot for the planning. I observed that from published information, the CIA station there was quite large for that size of a country. It was huge.
quite large, them agent with them size of them thing quite large in our country for a small country. Yeah? But remember that them depend on the ground and do the thing them as Seaga and them use the youth them. So everything drop on Seaga shoulder. Was not Jamaican. Can't be a Jamaican. Yeah? Alright.
Huge, in fact. It was bigger than any station I knew of in Africa, although Jamaica was a fairly small island with 2 million people. That's typical of when the CI is got a big operation going in a place, they beef up the station and beef up the offices back stateside. The tone and flow of articles in the Gleaner was, of course, as Lou says, definitely a chapter out of Chile or a chapter out of the Angolan operation. Every indication of a massive CI operation going to destabilize the government, to make the economy scream. And in that case, I would say that probably someone got promoted for that one, probably several people.
Because Manley was run out of office.
Because it worked.
By a legitimate election.
Without a scandal, without an assassination, without...
You hear these people? Without a scandal or assassination, you couldn't move him. Because them didn't want to assassinate him. And them try to have a bad Manley. I'm going to show you why them try to have a bad Manley. Remember, you know, man, they tell us him not give them no problem and him not bow to them. Because man can't trust CIA, they can't trust. But look, man, I'm going to show you the lyrics of Bob Marley, then never continue. Because them try to kill Bob Marley. And Bob Marley said, "I'm tune." I'm going to show you the lyrics, and you just see when talk about them definitely. Okay? Let me just play this. Because we have something to play. When I run up and down, I grab that. Play.
The things that have caused the CIA so much grief, Manley, a champion of social democracy, of giving the people a piece of the pie, was thrown out of office, and an arch-capitalist was put in office. And again, there was minimal adverse publicity. Lou Wolfe and the others were studying the situation and did publish about what was going on, but it was not published in the New York Times and the Washington Post, and the big television networks didn't do studies on it, primarily because even if the journalists of the big organs knew what was happening and might have wanted to, they really just, because of the secrecy, couldn't get the truth about what the United States was doing. One interesting thing was that the effectiveness of the liars in our government, you know, the duplicity. When we formed the CIA, we committed our leaders to having two policies, as Lou says, the rhetoric, the public statements, and the truth about what United States policy is. So an interesting measure of presidents is how effectively they lie. Interesting discussions that occur inside the CIA is about lying. Would you lie? You know, you're the DDO and you're going to testify to the Senate, and it's serious discussions. Are you going to...
So here, they might tell you, they might deny and lie too, you know, but then no. I'll drop some. That's it.
Lie? Because if you do, it's perjury, and there's a chance you could go to jail, and yet, you know, the organization expects you to lie. President Carter was one of the most effective liars I have ever watched on television and through the media. As a poker player, man, I would never go up against that man. He could look at that camera and say things that obviously he knew were completely and totally false. And I would study his expression, and I could detect nothing except occasionally a little wisp of a smile that wasn't consistent with what he was saying, like he thought it was funny. But one of his more classic...
tick, actually.
Yeah, well, the smile that I was referring to wasn't that. It was just a kind of like he was repressing a grin, like he thought it was funny. How he rationalized these things, I don't know, but one of his most conspicuous lies was when he sat down with Manley just a few weeks before the elections in Washington and told him face to face that the CI, don't have the CI doing anything to destabilize you or your government. We have no such program going, when obviously he did. And he pulled it off to the point where even Manley was troubled. Very effective liar.
All right, so we just play something, not our word. I want to show now, can they show Bob Marley? and come back and the two tune. I'm want you look at the two tune. Because I go back to word now. So this is one. Let me just move that one here. I'm going to show you. Remember them that try to assassinate Bob Marley. You can't hear this. And them that try to assassinate Michael Manley too, you know. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Down in Jamaica, I'm skipping. They tried in 1976 to organize a military coup to overthrow Michael Manley. In 1976, they supported attempts to assassinate Michael Manley on 3 different occasions. The little man who led Jamaica, who spoke at Savior's Day, was such a threat to our government that they attempted 3 times to assassinate the man in 1976. So later, they found a way to get rid of him through riots in the street over food when they cut off assistance to Jamaica. This is America.
I remember the whole of this upon Seaga shoulder was in a Jamaican can't renounce, not about no renounce when they run about man Jamaica. And Seaga gonna come from the Commonwealth. But yet still he was a prime minister and then put him for money. This are evil. And you run about Mark up in Jamaica talk about citizenship and not sit well. You have Seaga sit down for 9 years as prime minister on a piece of shit to know. 9. And that opposition, when him take it over from Shearer, I'm sitting at the place longer than that, I don't face him do more than 5 years. Sit down at a place. That nastiness. Yeah? Wasn't no banner come at him, no woman, and nobody no banner Jamaica. None of them. But him sit down there, around on a run, dirty, when if I run them were big dirty thinking, mama, the whole of them. I go observe. Let me show you now, Bad Marley, them try to assassinate man the 3 times. Them try to have a Bad Marley too, them go shoot him too. See? Let me show you so them shoot him. Them just look on this. Now I show him write it down the lyrics, you know. I could go through the lyrics. Food, you know. I could just look what him say. Right? Want to look what him say, not my word. I could go to Bob Marley and move, clear up Bob Marley thing. See, I go try to kill Bob Marley. Him have the man them who work with them, you know. And I get the thing them coming in and everything, right? Can't America. Look here. Wonder if you can see this big enough. Can we dry it up more? You know? Oh, what a rat race, right? All right. Let me see if you can see it big. I want to see the word. And look on it, remember, you know, see I know there now. See I am America. And not Cuba. Okay. Look on this. Now I'll show you how when they shoot him when MC after this. Because look on me. Now I'll show you something. Teach you something because our music taught, that's why I play lyrically inclined. Let me teach you something. All right, let me pick up this more. Move myself from this. Let me move myself from this. I want to see the lyrics of this here. All right. Let me see if I can big it up more and make you see the lyrics. All right, watch me. All right, so see him say, you're too rude. And then it make him make a sound, oh, what a rat race. 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 And repeat. This is the rat race. Rat race. And then you repeat. Some are lawful. Some are bastard. You can't say a bastard. Some are jacket. Say a attack. Oh, what a rat race, yeah? Rat race. You see it? Some are gargana. Some are hooligana. Some are guinea gaga. In this rat race, yeah, rat race. I'm singing. That's when the cat's away, the mice will play. When I see it good, right? Look at political violence fill a city. Yeah. Don't involve Rasta in your say. Rasta don't work for no CIA. And no Manley matter. In the drone man them, yeah? You see that front of you, you know. This make them go for him. Seaga nearly kill him. And kill who up there. Seaga not good. But you still, and was not Jamaican, but you still have come talk about Mark. And I'm going to about how it look. How it look to people. And you have Paul when Seaga run and be a prime minister so long and kill off much of our people, them brother. Eh? Rat race. Him come back to rat race. I am saying, Where you think is peace and safety, a sudden destruction, collective security for surety, yeah. Don't forget your history. Know your destiny. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Rat race, rat race. You see that? You see it? Simple lyrics, all right. Let me show you something again. Let me just show you, say, him know who shoot him. So I'm going to talk about, no make sure I say, say, I work for the CIA, you never hear, say, I work for this. I'm about no community, I tell you, and then you go shoot the man. Seaga them send and shoot. Seaga responsible for them thing. Seaga. No man in the Commonwealth shouldn't be in a prime minister. You can't come say, oh, we not. Nothing no go so because we no seat and then you can't renounce, you know, ban there. The ban in our foreign power shouldn't be in a prime minister. That is stupid. And that one I forgot to talk about and get him out for money too on a piece of shit. Make us show them something else. So after them do this, you know, then they keep what them keep. Look on this now. Show us something now. Since come back in around 79 and come back, come do this. You do that show ya. Yeah, let me show it again. That are the right traits after them shoot him. Him do that one ya around 79, that around 75, 76. So him do that one ya, look on that one where him do now. Look here. All right. Let me make sure it come up when you can see it good. More to see the lyrics. Okay, make the right this. More to see the lyrics good. Watch the lyrics. Me show you say him know who doing things, you know. Watch this. Remember, you can use the big stark fear. You know? Yeah, look here now. You might say who are. See, let's see them fighting for power. And you know who are. Yeah, but they know not the hour. And when it repeat, so them bribing with their guns, spare parts, and money. Who doing this? Trying to belittle our integrity now. You see what I'm saying? I'm tune, you know, when I just listen to tune and I listen to lyrics, I don't know what's my drop out pan them see me. This after them shooting. This after them ambush him. See there? They say what we know is just what they teach us. And we are so ignorant that every time they can reach us, and then they, you know, the high trees are saying them thing through the political tragedy. Seems that political again there. They keep us hungry. I will do that because them that's your food and you know them are try do them foolishness. Okay? And draw a card per Monday. This will come up to the election. This is 79 into this, you know. And when we're gonna get some food, your brother got to be your enemy. Look what I'm saying. Ambush in the night. All guns aiming at me. Ambush in the night. He might tell you, you know, look here. They open fire on me now. Ambush in the night. Protected by His Majesty. Who are. Go down back there, son. He might tell us that I fight for power and everything. But I'm going to go back here, so see there? See it? And then repeat. You know, I'm going to repeat that. You know what I'm saying? Well, what we know is not what they tell us. We are not ignorant. I mean it. And they just cannot touch us. Through the power of the Most High. We keep on surfacing. Through the power of the Most High. We keep on surviving, yeah? Ambush in the night. See there? Planned by society. You know, some of them, you know, the PSOJ and Seaga and them. Ambush in the night. They're trying to conquer me. And then it got through. When you look at the lyrics of what the man write. See like what them try half a Manley, them try half a him too. Because them did a worry about him. And a matter of fact, you have the documentary where tell us say, you have the documentary come out and tell us say, him tune them did a worry about him tune them. So them brush him. I remember when them a brush and them themselves come. So Seaga kill 150 a event at home to him do it. Him try to assassinate Manley. Him try to kill Bob Marley. Him in there look for the power. Him send them out at everything upon his shoulder. Everything. Like you run a country and anything upon you. Same like big nothing them go for him because of him that can knock. You know the thing go already, don't? Him. Man, they sing about it. Bob Marley sing about it. You never know. Me know so no found never look on the lyrics and say him now work. Don't mix up Rasta in here, say. And Rasta now work for no CIA rat race. Don't it? Hear the rumor where the one that's spreading about place. Hear the rumor where him said. You understand? Hear the rumor when knock. Yeah.
Throne of England are my guest this evening for some insights into the interdependence of the world we live in. For several months, I've been traveling to distant parts of the world, recording interviews and film reports with people who can add to our understanding of the forces that are shaping life on this planet. My interest in doing this series was partly spurred last fall, when the grown-up leaders of American Little League Baseball announced that henceforth their World Series would be limited strictly to American teams. They didn't say why, but the reason was pretty apparent. Teams from Taiwan and Japan had won 7 of the is small. The real world, of course, isn't like that. We're all affected by forces beyond our control and beyond our shores, and our survival isn't going to be played out merely among Americans. So in these programs, we've cast an ear toward men and women of other nations who have something to say about the new ball game, the real World Series in which the human race will win or lose together.
Let's watch this.
Tonight, 2 views from abroad. This is Michael Manley, the Prime Minister of Jamaica. He leads a small island republic in the Caribbean. For 300 years, Jamaica was a colony of England and only gained its independence 13 years ago. Michael Manley's father was a leader in the independence movement and a former Prime Minister himself. While Jamaica is small and dependent on tourism and bauxite for the health of its economy, under Manley, the country has begun to assume a role of leadership in what is called the Third World, those largely non-white countries in the southern half of the globe that were once colonies and are now seeking their own path to national pride and economic growth.
Now seeking them own pride. We call it the Third World,
Talked with the Prime Minister on the terrace of his home in Jamaica. Why do you consider Jamaica part of the Third World?
Well, I think that the Third World is made up of countries that have shared a certain common historical experience, firstly, and secondly, who are aware of that fact.
What is that experience?
And that experience, of course, is well documented and talked about, and that is the problem of being part of that formerly colonial empire, which may have been British, may have been French, other parts of Europe, but where the whole of the development of the particular country was stamped by the fact of colonialism, with all that that implied in terms of economic development, becoming the great sort of producers of raw materials for the world, and suffering all the economic disadvantages of imbalanced economic development and political dependency. So I think if you have shared that experience and then have developed the capacity to see that for yourself, and to see that it makes you a part of a historical problem, then you are, in fact, a member of the Third World. Jamaica has shared that experience, and I hope we are now aware of the fact.
You once wrote that all the newly independent territories have found themselves trapped in an economic dilemma. What kind of dilemma?
It is the dilemma that flows from being dependent on the production of certain kinds of basic materials, raw materials, particularly like we, for instance, are sugar. There are countries that are dependent on, say, producing cotton. There are all sorts of examples of it. And where, first of all, the prices that one commands historically for the export of those things do not move nearly as rapidly as the prices of all the manufactured goods that we, of course, have to import from the great centers like America, Britain, Europe, and the rest of it. And where, as a result, you're constantly transferring wealth from poorer countries to richer countries because is really taking more and more sugar to buy a tractor or an automobile or more and more bales of cotton.
How do you break out of that dilemma?
Well, I don't see any way out of it short of the development of strategies within what we call the framework of a new world economic order. What one really means by that is I think, two things. I think one implies something very important in the decision-making process. One is implying that historically, the great seats of economic power in the so-called metropolitan nations, by the sheer power of their economic influence, have dominated economic decision-making in the world and have, as a consequence, been the beneficiaries of the decisions that are made to the detriment and harm of the so-called third world. But more specifically, I think what one really means to get to the practical implications of it is this. As long as a concept of free market forces determines the price element in world trade, you are going to get the problem of a tendency to buoyant manufactured goods prices as against stagnant staple prices. And therefore, you'll be trapped in the dilemma. So that until you can devise international institutions which can begin to negotiate the terms on which goods move from one country to another, you will forever be trapped in the dilemma.
Are the third world countries beginning to negotiate those institutions?
Oh, clearly. You see, I think that the recent agreement between the African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries, that's the 46 nations that have just made this very important new agreement with the European Economic Community. I think that that agreement is historic in its significance. Well, it does a number of things. It, for example, takes quite an important range of products that are vital to these 46 third world countries and guarantees certain kinds of price formulae for their goods, which begin to guarantee adequate returns.
Jamaica has always relied on foreign goods, foreign markets, foreign ideas, and foreign outlets for labor. Is that changing?
Obviously, one can't ever break out of any fundamental alignment of arrangements quickly. But what we are doing is, as rapidly as our human and financial resources permit, trying to produce for ourselves the things that we can, so as to cut down that degree of foreign dependence. We are also actively seeking opportunities to trade within the third world group, wherever they present themselves.
You when said them that look opportunities, much country them over 40 yard, fit trade within the third world. Them are fighting more again. Because them are say you cut them out of the deal. You see it? You see what I'm do?
All of which begins to do what we think is critical, which is to break the pattern of total dependence on the metropolitan nexus.
Yeah, him want to break the dependence on the metropolitan nexus.
You know the old problem about that if Washington sneezes, and I mean no disrespect to one of the world's great capitals, if Washington sneezes, everybody else catches a cold. Seems like a joke to an American, but it's a very serious problem of health to everybody else.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that what meant, you think, by the term interdependence?
Well, that is one possible and unfavorable interpretation of the meaning of interdependence. But what we really are, we know perfectly well that nations can never be isolated. We understand this. But what we feel is that to be overly dependent on certain kinds of relationships is unhealthy. And really what we are trying to do is to build up the strongest possible internal base to our economy, which guarantees one kind of freedom of economic action, and then to spread as widely as possible the sort of net of external relationships. And that is why, for example, we are now working out an aluminum complex with Mexico. We think this is very important, that we should develop a whole new exploitation of bauxite mining and aluminum processing with Mexico as an alternative avenue and outlet for the resource from the traditional North American sources.
So much of Jamaica's economy is affected by decisions taken by multinational companies whose headquarters are in capitals a long way from here. How does the government of a small country protect its national interest against decisions made in distant capitals?
It is extremely difficult, and actually, I think more than anything else, this explains a phenomenon in the world today that is causing both misunderstanding and concern, particularly to metropolitan countries. I refer, for example, to what we have actively helped to engineer in the world, which is known as the International Bauxite Association, which is a body that seeks to bring into alliance for the development of coherent policies all the major bauxite-producing countries of the world. Now, we do this because faced with the problem of the multinational corporation, we find that each small individual country experiences the preemption a lot of the decision-making process. Very often, Pittsburgh may have a boardroom that is deciding the fate of thousands of Jamaicans, how a critical Jamaican resource should be deployed in the next 10, 15, or 20 years. It is obviously inconsistent with any concept of economic sovereignty. And we find that to try to deal with a group of multinational corporations alone is a serious problem. It's very difficult for us. So that we see, therefore, the development of a thing like the International Bauxite Association as partly a necessary element in the attempt to get fair returns for a natural resource like bauxite, to make that an input into the development of a new economic order. We also find it very important as the part of a process by which we begin to retain within Jamaica the decision-making process over our own resources, because then you can lock together a number of small countries who have no hostile intentions against anybody. We are not trying.
You know what I'm saying? Who have no hostile intention against anybody, but him a look for the third world and him come up with the backside thing there. Seem like what you have OPEC. Them come up with it, Jamaica. And it at them head. And Seaga seek to eliminate everybody, not a Jamaican. You can't put Mark in the same shoes. You do all of them dirty thinking, big mama and all of them. You don't do that, Mark ban Jamaican. Seaga, him mother no ban a Jamaica, him father no ban a Jamaica, him come from America. Nearly kill Bob Marley, nearly assassinate a man 3 times, then knock off of him, burn down evening tide home, and do him kill Jim Brown. And him kill Claude Massop. The man make 800 and nearly 900 people dead in an election. Them carrying the first M16. Them mash up the money thing where you have, what them call it now, what them call it now. That's why them not release it, you know. Him forgot say more $31 million. Him say man they hungry done. Not a Jamaican. And he cannot renounce because he never come from no Commonwealth. So you can't say, oh, me knows, but him no. You see Merck, you see the power Merck with. You know what them do? Now move man the curve. Them take him and put for money, Finsack. Them take him and put for money with Michael Manley. This is how them disrespectful. And I'm gonna pan down with Mark like people. But them have a little dirty thinking Paul. And say 60 people say, no, because we don't know what him do. We know what Seaga do, of course. And him never born in the Commonwealth. You have drunk jacket to born in London right now and can pipe for water anytime. Mattress and Muda. That's why the people never get no water, you piece of shit, you know. Yes. Saying people of Jamaica time to run with nasty bars and the whole of them to go where? Big dirty thinking mama go where? Not my word. You know what this is what I show now? Eh? This is what the guy do. Empty box him carry coming on. You understand? You know nothing with him. You take him and put palm money. Let me show you next thing. This is what them put in pan now. I can't tell you money, but this is what them put in pan. Voila.
I knew would not have liked it. The one I knew would have seen it.
This is what them take Seaga put pan. And I run down Mark Obama Jamaica. See it?
And inauthentic. I feel as strongly about it as I think he would have felt about it. Let me tell you why. Here it is, you have what is tantamount to a civil war in the 1970s. Okay. Ideologically, Manley and Seaga could not be further apart. But what a lot of people don't know, that at a personal level, they didn't talk to each other. After that promise Seaga made about the voting list, and he would not have any more elections, whatever, and he did not keep his promise, I don't think they ever spoke at all. My memory of it is that he spoke to Seaga when Seaga was Prime Minister through Hugh Shearer. If he wanted to say anything to Seaga, he would say it to Shearer to take.
Man, they never talk to it. Man, they never talk to it. Them try to assassinate the man. See that?
To Seaga. And Shearer was fine with that role, and that's how they, quote unquote, communicated. So short answer to your question is, I think he would have been nauseated by it. And I'm nauseated by it because if you are really authentic about unity, you don't just put the two man opposing people on a currency note. You start a process at a grassroots level. And you say, this is about truth, reconciliation, whatever you have to call it. And then maybe after a while, and the conversations that take place, and people get to listen to each other, because right now it's very hard. The two tribes cannot listen to each other. Then you could get to a stage where you say, oh, time now. You know, the Michael Manley, I knew. I don't know what he was like in his 5th marriage. I can only speak for my marriage to him. Would not have liked it. The one I knew would have seen it as hypocritical and inauthentic. Those are the 2 words that come to mind. Remember, this thing was tried with Bob Marley, you know.
Yes.
I was sitting there, live. The tension in place, tension plus excitement plus exhilaration, you know. And the 2 men go on stage. I would say reluctantly. Certainly for Michael it was.
Seaga tried to kill the 2 of them, you know. He tried to kill the 2 of them. Look there.
Reluctant. And he put the hands together. So what? So what? You don't have that top-down thing. You have to have a thing on the ground, and then it takes Jamaica even further along the way and so on. I'd be interested to know how Mitzi and her children feel about this. Because although we were in opposing camps, we do have a relationship. I haven't spoken to her. But I don't want to go any further with it. I have to just say that Sarah and Natasha have put a statement on Facebook.
So Mr. Shearer was the postman between Michael and Eddie.
Oh, give him a bigger title than that.
Oh, no.
I don't know how he did what he did, but he did. Because he and Michael got on very well.
I know. I know. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it was under the PNP government that the $5,000 note came out with Shearer on it.
I think so.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes. And there was no problem.
Well, there's
no problem at all. Right.
It's just silly. It's like little boys playing games, you know.
Yes.
I think it's just such a pity.
Look how them stink now, people. Let me just stop it there. Look how them stink. You got to go rolling and talk about, you don't know who you give loyalty to. Andrew Holness. Seaga give loyalty to him country when born. Mark Golden born in Jamaica. Which when father do. Who no give the loyalty, who no thief. Hey, listen. The government have thief so much money. Andrew Holness a build a house, you know. And we don't know where him get the money from. I St. Lucia, I'm sending it to and use him son, them name, you know. To trick the people, them, you know. Shouldn't be a prime minister either, you know. That is not an honest guy. I never see man they make them kind of move there yet. These people not stop them have no moral authority, none of them. False, no, them have no moral authority for chat to nobody. Big dirty thinking, mama verse. No PR around here. Me just trace a Bob Marley. Bob call them to the one, them have say Bob Marley. Them have something put out, say Bob Marley, them are worry about Bob Marley. With the music. Like him, you know, edify the people, them are worry about Manley. Get rid of him and all kind of things. Depend them with the money. With a man when a born in Jamaica, mother not born in Jamaica, father not born in Jamaica, he's American. And like him born in Canada or somewhere else, so he could have said yes, he could have been a prime minister. Him not born in Jamaica. So you can't say him renounce because he's not supposed to even renounce, he's null and void. But he was a prime minister for 9 years. And the one of them love it up and go put him for money the other day with them big dirty thinking self. And then I run about Mark Golding and about, oh, he might do all citizenship, he want a big dirty and stink. Full of shit. You understand? But I wait because Mark Golding should have so all fast long time for you. Or remember, it's dangerous, you know. When you go and get people data and fling it out where you get from Pika, that's a danger. And nobody must take the needs for them have. Nobody. None. You understand? Nobody must take it. Say none. I see them around, I see them go for the taxi man and them see him and him involved. When you look, you're the police to the taxi man. But you don't have no, you don't have, you seek a police record and you don't get it. I'm gonna lock up the man. Listen, if me was a taxi man and you see me stand up at a light post and me not drive, you know, see me I drive, there is no way you can come talk to me so and lock me up. You'd have to see me, remember, you know, for me breathe something in a car, I have to operate the vehicle. And if me have a car in the front end leak out or something, then you can charge me and say, hey, you have a broken this or you have a broken that. You couldn't see me stand up outside and they come charge me. But that police guy get orders from them. And so involved falls again. And then I run to big dirty thinking, mama, when I have no credibility. That make any sense? About every time them call Mark name on for bun, Seaga, you know. Because them just take him and go put for money, you know. Yeah? Them just take him and put for money. You understand? See that? The man a prime minister for 9 years. When a born in Jamaica, and a born in the Caribbean Island. Man born down evening tide home. Man carrying first M16 and all of that. Man kill Jim Brown, man kill Claude Massop. Man, the amount of people, 800 people for them watch. Died, pan film watch. First in the history of Jamaica, see how I do it. Evening time, over 100 old people, the man make them kill. Him kill them because they fan film watch. No care who him send, him kill them. Him. Because let me tell you, we know how Seaga work. Okay. Them did have a war on Afghanistan. Yeah. Them Mullah Omar, them and the one of them. A war with the Taliban. A war with before Russia, it was Soviet Union. America a part of the war. But America got through Pakistan. Bin Laden was there. And them defeat, them they make, you know, them have little thing America well and thing and we look. Soviet Union well and Soviet Union have to pull back after too much years. So them stand them one because America with the CIA fund them through Pakistan to deal with what them are deal with. But them not put them foot in the war. Don't you see why we're going to Ukraine? America never put them foot in it. But you know your fund. When you see why we're going to front of eye. So when Seaga get the weapons and the what have you, and then him issue it out to the man them to kill off one people. Or you take a man like this and put for money. And then you run go to Mark Golding. No, so I'm not shame. He was a leader of the JLP, he was a prime minister. When no born in Jamaica, and no born in the common fucking wealth. No and void. Try to assassinate Michael Manley 3 times. Not my word. Not my word. Try to assassinate Bob Marley. That Bob Marley sing about it. The man sing about run race, then shoot him. Can him tell you I'm not work with who, you know. He never say I'm not work with Castro, you know. That's the show, son. Him and Michael. No, nothing to do with no Michael. He might tell you, son, mix up. Remember showing again. Him tell about the political violence. Remember, you know, man, they are the prime minister, you know, war with nobody. Saying, man, they look for a challenge them and take with the backside company, force buy back and start on the backside thing, they like how pick a run. Saying, and them are saying, them are going too powerful, them are working the people, them eye. Saying, so what them do? And then Bob Marley, now they are not doing tune and everything. So them do, yeah. See there? Remember showing this. Remember showing this again. Look, I'm show you who shoot Bob Marley, you know. The man come and tell you I'm going to do rat race first. Hold on. Me do rat race. I go draw back for rat race. And they will play our next thing here. See that? Nobody can't tell you nothing, you know. You see, nobody can distort history. You can't distort history. See? Everything is there. It's documented, it's there. The man talking, I'm tune. One of the tune and them not understand tune. I'm going to show you what we're talking about tune. See that? See what the man said? You're too rude. Oh, what a rat race. Oh, what a rat race. This is the chorus. Oh, what a rat race. Yeah, oh, what a rat race. See that? Yeah, this is the rat race. Rat race. Rat race. Yeah, see it? Some are laughful. You know, so America matter about. Some are bastard matter about Seaga. Some are jacket a Seaga, I call jacket too, you know. Oh, what a rat race. Yeah, rat race. See there? Some are Gaga. Some are hooligan. Some are Gingy Gaga. You know, this is a rat race. Yeah, rat race. See there? I'm singing. That's when the cat's away. The mice will play. Political violence. Fill a city. Yeah. Don't involve Rasta in your say. Rasta don't work for no CIA. Them bullet him. See there? Rat race. And see me tell you back, I'm going to come back to rat race. See there? Him come back. When you think of peace and safety, you know, a sudden destruction, collective security for surety, yeah. Don't forget your history. Know your destiny. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty, rat race. And then them go down and tell about the rat race. And I'm going to tell you have the ass race and dog race and human race, but these are the rat race. You understand? So I'm going to tell you what them doing in the rat race. Them go shoot him. Seaga, in response to him. Nobody watch who him send. Him are the architect for this. Really, it come from CIA, but remember, if you know, they never pull the trigger and take the thing, the man do it, it can't happen, you know. Because he wasn't a Jamaican. So if no man kill Jamaican and spill Jamaican blood, and you put him for money. I know you run around with Mark Welding name, but oh, we don't know who we're going to serve. We don't for that shit. We don't for that shit, go know this. This is what we know one prime minister do. We don't for that shit. You understand? Look here again. Look when him fight for power. And Michael fight for power. Him do the tune deliberately for sure you. And then him say it that in the words of the tune. Look here. Let me show you something again. So after them shoot him, after them do this tune that come out around 79, the one where the other one before the 80th election. And Bush in the night. Yeah. Yeah, man. We live through it, man. We know, man. Look here now. Look when I attack. Remember, I'm mention CIA, never mention about this and that, and I mention them, you know. Saying, say I got the head for that. He want the power, he want the way I do. I'm going to tell you something again. Look on this. And them see man I run out for macaroni, and if I run with a piece of germs, them, all of them. But them don't know what I do. This is what Seaga do. Was not Jamaican, him mother and him father not Jamaican neither. See there? See them fighting for power, you know, the ooh-wee, but they know not the hour. So them bribing with their guns, spare parts and money. Trying to belittle our integrity now. You know what? The money and the drugs and spare parts and everything, right? The guns, the spare parts and their money. Them bribing. See there? They say what we know is just what they teach us. And we are so ignorant that every time they can reach us through the political strategy, they keep us hungry. So you remember this at 79 years ago, so you know the food and the way. Look at, and when you try gonna get some food, your brother going to be your enemy. Because they might use the same get up people. See, I gotta use them go through him and him use them. Forget power. Yeah? Ambush in the night, all guns aiming at me. See him say it in him tune. This is what the tune I tell you who shoot him. Ambush in the night, they open fire on me now. Ambush in the night protected by His Majesty. And come and say who are them fighting for power. See him come back with it there. See there? You understand? Well, what we know is not what they tell us. Kind of want to hear from them. We are not ignorant. I mean it. And they just cannot touch us. Through the power of the Most High, we keep on surfacing. Through the power of the Most High, we keep on surviving. See that? The ambush in the night, planned by society. Him know. Ambush in the night, then trying to conquer me. And him tell him, him go run through it and him tell you. See? So let me tell you something. See, I got one of the wickedest things where I touch your place in. When I see it, you see it? Up to Monday and you still. Remember play again. Pharaoh, where you there? Come I play something else right there, sir. Now play something else right there. So I'm more to listen to Seaga. But what Pharaoh there? I'm play Pharaoh.
Down in Jamaica, I'm skipping. They tried in 1976 to organize a military coup to overthrow Michael Manley. In 1976, they supported attempts to assassinate Michael Manley on 3 different occasions. The little man who led Jamaica, who spoke at Savior's Day, was such a threat to our government that they attempted 3 times to assassinate the man in 1976. So later, they found a way to get rid of him through riots in the street over food when they cut off assistance to Jamaica. This is America.
You don't know about it. Look here. Look here.
A week ago tonight, the home of an American diplomat in Jamaica was bombed and sprayed with machine gun fire. The diplomat, First Secretary Richard Kinsman, had been identified in an American magazine as a purported CIA agent. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Manley, apologized profusely for the incident and promised a rigorous investigation. The American was not hurt, but the incident symbolized both the political tension between the U.S. and Jamaica and the island's increasingly violent politics. So far this year, more than 250 Jamaicans have met violent deaths. Most of
there. You see it? That man never conceded, but more people are dead.
Them thought to be political murders. Prime Minister Manley has announced elections for later this year, but has given only a slim chance of holding power. The island's economy is staggering under rising energy prices and other troubles.
Hear them the energy prices. Who you think control it? Hear them now after rising energy prices. Who control the energy? Who control the island around the country? So everything are push up. So them know remember them are making the economy screaming. Everything have a raise up in rising energy prices and all kind of things. Hear this. Them do everything. Seaga do it. Was not Jamaican. Can't be no Jamaican. You couldn't go tell me about him take up this. Him mother no band him, father no can go check it. Him mother, him poopa, him mama, no band there. Him come from Boston. And you see where him work with that this supposed to be a problem. Him not supposed to depend on money. But Andrew them take him go put for money. We don't consult him family and nobody. Nobody. And put him and Seaga upon money. Put Seaga upon the money with Manley. You say, oh, them disrespectful. The money they forget with that too, you know. Yes. You understand? This is how them get with that. Not American, not a Jamaican. American. Put per money for you to spend. And now I got Mark Golden about him to go do this. I'm going to do this. And then the part about people say, oh, no back foot on a toe stink. You understand, Mark? For one, away in the band, it's going to ban the Commonwealth Island band America. Different power. And by the way, we see what different power do. Because in work. And some of them will sit down with him while we're chatting now, when I have them look at the thinking out. Them was there. Them are part of this. Them for charge for treason. Them was part of this. And by the way, catch his bully. Remember, some know say you do a whole album, you know, before the woman there, when she gave her a paper, the police woman there, when she started before she told the inspector, next one, they soon called for her name. Then I put it in the next thing. You catch his bully. I don't know if your wife know about that. She complained herself, you know. So too much catches every minute to call the woman. Because she never get her paper, the police woman there. Yeah? With the dung, so you catch his bully. Yes. So me not ready, me not done. You fix the bail me at about him. Catch his bully. So me not drop that pan you yet. I remember, you tell the police them down they can call double anytime and make any money, anything where you want to. Me can't tell you that. You notice me can repeat what you say? Me tell them be careful of me, you know. All right, continue, play.
Attributed to Manley's socialist economic policies. The island is heavily in debt to North American banks. In 1978, it secured large credits from the International Monetary Fund to finance recovery. But talks to refinance that broke down in March. Edward Seaga, the opposition leader, claims that Manley is taking the island down the road to Marxism.
Marxism, communists. These are the lie when tell. You understand? This are the lie when tell the Jamaican people and kill out one people and some of them follow him. A man when a born in your country, you sell out all them follow. But me forgive our people them because they never even understand these things. No born there. Man rule with an iron fist. And then same man that went to market G with film father. I thought was born over this about but remember the Commonwealth, remember we was a part of the British Empire still. Because we're not going to Republic now. Still. That's why we have a GG. I represent the king. Still. And that's why you see me not to trouble Cougar because she a Canadian, but they're a part of the Commonwealth. But yeah, trouble a man at all. But blah, 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 look at dirty thinking, man. The version of dirty thinking teeth, man. I shave it, man. Yeah, man.
That anxiety is alive in Washington as the administration surveys the increasing political turmoil in the Caribbean as a breeding ground for Cuban or Soviet mischief.
Yeah, that Cuban and Soviet mischief. That's but Marley sing about Cuban and Soviet mischief. I'm thinking Rasta now work for who? You hear him say now work for the Cuban? You hear him now work for? I hear them ambush him, them, I go near him for him. But that him sing about. Them did want not man did them want and the whole of this come from Seaga. I like it. Yeah? And that them figure talk about and each up and come off of my name, them piece of shit. But we want to think we're not going away. Every time when I talk, we're thinking about Seaga to you know. I'm not supposed to depend money, you know. A matter of fact. And to go want to know about how much money, how much thing you have, you know. Because too much money I rap from Jamaica now too, you know. A time for no go to prison, you know. Every other country, all them leaders are accountable. The big dirty thinking police force full of them up there. By the way, them up there, if you not show your hand in a police force right now, you're not getting a promotion, you know. You have to show your hand after cheats. Yes. I saw them around it. Yes. And Catches bully me chop up there. Him wife in work, I remember, hey, Catches bully me have something for a chop on you, man. Because you're crosses, man. Because you're greener than everybody else. Yeah, man.
Tonight, a close-up view of Jamaica's dilemma and Manley's struggle to be both independent and solvent through the eyes of a British reporter, Bernard Falk. His filmed report was broadcast by the BBC 2 weeks ago. It begins last March as Manley travels to Grenada, the former British colony which set up a Marxist government friendly to Cuba after a revolution a year ago.
In the uniform, Daniel Ortega, Sandinistan revolutionary from Nicaragua. In the tropical leisure suit, Michael Manley, Prime Minister of Jamaica. He's a self-appointed elder statesman of the Third World, and as
I'm the elder statesman of the Third World, our 40th country.
Such is warmly greeted by Comrade Prime Minister Maurice Bishop, who seized power in Grenada a year ago.
You hear them?
All these men head countries greatly influenced and inspired by Fidel Castro's Cuba.
You them now? Inspire or influence. Not go say now. The man them just go through water.
This gathering will cause great alarm in the United States of America.
You hear this? Cause great alarm. God, great alarm. So you see, them never want, even one Babali that thing. That's why they shoot him. Seaga response to do all of this from Evening Tide to Bob Marley to nearly assassinate Michael, to killing Jim Brown, to kill Cardimas up first. Remember, let me say more of the man and kill Cardimas up first. Him kill Jim Brown. You understand? Seaga response to a lot of things, you know. Yes.
Proving the spirit of revolution is growing. But the presence of Michael Manley, hobnobbing with Marxist friends, will be even more provocative. Many Americans would like to be rid of Manley in the belief he's turning Jamaica into another Cuba.
Yeah, when them spread people, he might turn Jamaica and another Cuba. Not never go say, you know. You see it? So this is how them spread. Eh? Eh? Them not helping right now, man. Them know so be a criminal agwan, man. Them not helping right now, Jennifer. Them know be a criminality agwan. So them not unite with him. Them not unite with him now, man. Different thing, man.
A comrade who has been consistent and principled in his anti-imperialist positions, in his support for poor, oppressed people fighting throughout the world. I want to introduce to you now, Comrade Prime Minister of Jamaica, Comrade Michael Manley.
Manley's blamed for caring more about third world ideology than about paying the rent. As far as his opponents are concerned, there's little doubt that Jamaica's problems stem from his admiration of Cuba. Manley is a close friend of Dr. Fidel Castro. After his first visit to Cuba, he praised the spirit of unity among the people and their ideology. It mattered little to Manley that in America, such support of a communist state was like a declaration of war.
When you hear for yourself, but like a communist, a declaration of war. You see why the gun and thing come. If you listen to them, you know. Remember this thing documented, declaration of war. And who them use was Seaga in response to the Eventide woman, everybody were dead in Jamaica. First time him 16, I come out, I mean, him in transfer the whole of these things. Him, Seaga, wasn't a Jamaican, can't be a Jamaican, wasn't a Jamaican. In Muma and Papa Nabanda neither. See? And kill so much Jamaican for this. Eh? I know them matter about who we don't want one ultimate where you have a man born in America was a prime minister in a JLP for 9 years. A man born in Jamaica now you say, oh, him get a thing them a British by him fault because descent. True descent. But yet still let me be critical, you know. They might tell you by next week if you come to Jamaica and you bring a granny, even if you're born in America, you bring your grandfather, your grandmother birth certificate, and they might give you a book because you're in Jamaica. And if you come invest, you can put your mind on a big dirty thinking piece of stinker. Yeah, I'm not telling you no get no easy one here. Not deal with no case, no shit. No shit. I mean, I say everybody in the diaspora for ease them off to, you know. Because them disrespect too much, man. Them to go, man. Continue.
Mr. Manley's association with Fidel Castro may be one of the prime reasons that many bankers have turned down his request for...
Yeah. So this name sabotage. This name embargo. Hear him now, but and then look with a straight face. Listen to what him say again. Listen to what him say again. One of the extreme reasons. Hear this. Hear this what I'm saying. Listen.
Bankers have turned down his request for the borrowing. Mr. Manley's association with Fidel Castro may be one of the prime reasons.
All right, so right away I'm declare them were the Paul Manley. Mr. Manley association with Castro, that's the reason why the bank them turn on him request. Bank turn on him request because they State Department. You know that. You understand? Yes, that's sanction. Yes. You see? So them do this, them do everything. I remember they want to make the economy scream. It's there. They make it scream. See? Seaga was in Jamaica and you run to a man over in Jamaica. And Muma, I mean, Pupa no band there. Him no band there, in Boston. What the man do there? When be a prime minister. And you know, do for a man over in Jamaica talk about, we have a problem and he might have loyalty. Loyalty. You just have a prime minister who mash up the whole place and give a bus and lock down the hospital and do all kind of things to it. And Manley come and give them Jamal and give them everything and then shut it down. And when you come and talk about loyalty, on a piece of shit, you know, when you let down the people. All people vote for you, by the way. So I couldn't be a politician because them couldn't tell me, you know, enough of them for go to prison, you know. Enough of them for charge of treason, them a big piece of shit. But them do PR and trick, you know. No more of that. We don't know it, we don't know. We're not full of shit. Continue, play, press.
That many bankers have turned down his request for the borrowing capacity for Jamaica, why their tourism is at a low ebb. why the economy is on the brink of disaster.
Yeah.
These are the prices sometimes people have to pay for their association with the wrong people.
So them I tell you, sir, them I do it. I know them in the night. These are the prices some people have to pay when you're in association with the wrong people. That means, and I'm not why them I do it, you know. You talk to Castro, and then you hear him talk about Marxists, communists, him talk about, you know, the one Seaga, you know. Remember, you know, the Jose Martis school and the one of them GC Foster College and enough of the hospital, enough of them were upgraded back and one back at thing and the clinic and the one of them thing that they and the MC and the one of them thing they are built up. This him talk about it was thing where them set for train people at Jamaica and Brigadesta. Brigadesta thing of foolishness, you know. Foolishness. A train man who go there so got train and a train for fire gun, who carrying rifle. See, them rifle M16 they come off of the battlefield. It come from Vietnam, the M16, them where you see them drop at Seaga, them did have them. Yeah. Yeah. Them did have it. Saying them introduce it. Seaga, man. See that?
Today in Manley's Jamaica, the wrong people assert more influence.
So you say the wrong people, but you say school and thing are built. But are the wrong people. Real people are working now. And then spread propaganda. Real people are working, and I know enough of the school them still stand right now. Enough of the thing them still stand.
Than the United States, or anyone else for that matter. Ulysses Estrada, the Cuban ambassador, has the biggest diplomatic staff in the country. It's said he's a senior officer in the Cuban Secret Service and was trained by the KGB. Here he's visiting a school being built by a large Cuban workforce.
Yeah, there. School a bill. School a bill in people. School. Eh? And them said this now a Marxist. Here what Seaga said. Look here.
It's part of a massive aid program which includes hospitals, clinics and nurseries.
Yeah, it includes hospital, clinic and nursery. And on my word, look here, people, not my word. Because when them did that, them the bill. I know when Seaga come in, let him show you one place where Marxists are there and train nobody. Hospitals, schools, and nurses, Seaga come and lock them down, enough of them. I'm a Jamaican. When him sick, you know, him go back home and then look about him till him dead. Yeah? He was the first one to the White House when Ronald Reagan come in, the first one. But him, oh, firing this, no, they're not firing nothing. But the first one, and them give him award. Yeah. It didn't documented. It didn't. We paid before. Documented. See that?
The money comes from Cuba. Cuba, in her turn, is subsidized by the Soviet Union.
Yeah, then.
There's no question in our mind, and we have been warning the country about this since 1975, and the country has now come more so to believe our view than the opposite view contended, that Manley's ultimate aim is to take Jamaica into the Cuban orbit and to transform the society into a Cuban-type society.
No, if you not transform a Cuban people, you say if you're not smart, if you have transformed the society, you know wait for transform it, the money that they attack. You know have no third, you know have a second party. That's the ban. So right away, you don't know it's a lie. But them time enough people read and man, they teach them to read and write and everything. Because if you have transform it, how much party them have in a Cuba? You might transform it, but yes, still you are the opposition leader, war with him and him not transform you and shut you up. Eh? That make any sense to you, no? This was a lie. Right now, Andrew Holness have done them having more than 200,000 Chinese in the place, and them America look on and say, yo, this spooky. And them have place where them have built up. Them have secret police, Chinese police never place them, station where them live in. You know, see them ignore the whole population and them have to take over and do them one thing. Eh? Because they want the right, they position themselves if a war go on. People get hurt. So this was totally a lie. Not a Jamaican, and this is not a Jamaican. This was just pure lie. See? And them taking put for money. Yeah, tell me about Mark Golding when this guy was not even a Jamaican. He was not even somebody from the Commonwealth. Number one, him no invite to be a prime minister in the first place. Yeah? Him did try to eliminate Michael Manley, you know. And by the way, him get rid of the even type people them too, you know. And who him send, you know, and him are the leader for them. So everything the pan film watch, film and him know what go on. You take a sit and carry them. You hear him like? Let me hear this.
They have in fact implemented many of the types of institutions that are necessary for the transformation.
Instead them implemented many of the institutions, I never see one. I see ANC, I see the clinic, I see the hospital, and I see the school. And them they're the institution, them they know, and him saying go train brigadier star. So go put in them institution there for training and training in a Cuban society. If you are training in a Cuban society, we know how the Cuban thing go. Them immunity there speak. The media wanted to speak and fight Manley. So this was like, but this are all them wicked. And this it start to lie them too, you know, this, you know. This start to lie. But Andrew the lie this thing now. Andrew get wicked on this too, you know. This kill Cardi Massab and kill Jim Brown and kill Wimpy and kill. If you disagree with him. Play.
What sort of thing? Training programs. We have, for instance, some 1,000 Jamaican youths that have now been trained in Cuba under a program that has come to be known as the Brigadista program.
Brigadista.
Because the purpose of the program is to set up Marxist-Leninist brigades to return to Jamaica to indoctrinate.
So, for indoctrinate. So, we never see that, you know, nobody, you could have trained 1,000 people. I remember, you know, if you have so much Cuban in there, build the school them and them not train you. Why you send some people, you know, 1,000 of them? When you have them in the place, I build school all over the place and hospital and clinic, you know. Why they never build something for indoctrinate you? This was lie. But this is OM steam, I say I'm not on vibe. I'm here them around about him did we not your but I want to go you know. Even if him talk about renounce, him no renounce because I look through the whole database, not no worse. But even if you have something him can renounce, you can be shouldn't sit down in your parliament. Not on vibe. He's American, shouldn't sit down in there, none at all. He's a big piece of shit.
The peasant people and the working class people.
The relationship with Cuba arises partly because Cuba is our closest neighbor, partly because Jamaica has always had a friendship that is traditional, really. With Cuba, it goes back into the 19th century. We find that we both share a deep commitment to the liberation process. We take a similar view of, took a similar view of Nicaragua. We take a similar view of South Africa. We took a similar view of Ian Smith.
Do you take a similar view of America?
No, I don't think we take a similar view of America. I think they have, of course, a very unusual and painful experience.
Do you think that your support of Dr. Castro and a certain number of his causes, that having Cubans here, has helped to antagonize the United States towards Jamaica?
Well, first of all, I've never supported Dr. Castro and his causes. I have discovered points where we have similar...
Yeah, him never support him and him causes. Him discover points and him tell you. And that's true, him never do it.
Causes. We share causes. I don't support his causes, nor he mine for that matter. But that the relationship has contributed to and been the cause of strain with the United States, of that there's no question. It's a matter of principle.
Why did you do it?
Because it is a matter of principle. Because to me it is an absolute matter of principle, and it isn't negotiable, and it will never be, no matter what price is paid. It is not negotiable for me to believe that a small country has to determine its policy by reference to what some powerful neighbor feels.
I'm right. It's a matter of principle. I'm not take talk, and I love that, because I'm not take talk neither. Matter of principle.
Comrades, all I can say, the international community has been run by the big powers for hundreds of years, and where are we? Where are we?
Upsetting Jamaica's powerful neighbor seems to have been a Manley speciality. When he came to power in 1972, he moved into head-on conflict with the interests of American big business. Bauxite is big business. It's the raw material from which aluminium is made. It's only found in a handful of countries, and Jamaica has 2 billion tons of it. Before Manley came to power, the entire Jamaican bauxite industry was controlled by 6 North American companies. The country's greatest natural asset belonged to someone else.
The country's greatest asset belonged to someone else.
The Jamaicans received only a pittance in royalties, about $40 million a year. After they were elected, Manley's government began to negotiate with the bauxite companies, and after fierce resistance began to buy into the industry, mainly by compulsory purchase.
So when them no want to send him force on a compulsory purchase from them, and take it over, about like 51%. Let's face it, time. So you start make some money. Instead they make 40 thing there. You make how much you make 200 million. Instead they make 40 million. You end up that you make 200 million. That's when I go to school and everything.
Years later, Jamaica was paying for a 51% controlling interest, and her revenue from bauxite had gone up to $200 million a year.
That agreement creates a new and we believe historic partnership between the company and Jamaica.
He also formed the International Bauxite Association, a producers' cartel similar to OPEC in the oil industry. It was
look what the man agree. What honest farm, big nose. When farm, that's lies and can. In farm, the backsiders, well, associates and when farm, there's something like OPEC. In farm it. See that? Yeah.
To ensure that poor countries got the maximum revenue from one of their few natural resources. But more significantly, it was the first time that Manley, using his socialist principles, went into action against American huge corporations and won.
Let's remember that wherever imperialism works, the people must unite to defeat it.
Unite!
In the eyes of some Americans, Manley had also threatened the security of the United States. Aluminium is used to build warplanes and rockets, and control of bauxite now lies outside America. And then came even...
So this alone tell you, say, you know what them are come after. Because them use to make warplane and rocket. Aluminum, then man, they control back that node, like I said, or why him create for me. So everybody come after him. All of them, we have to come around have them out to charge for treason. All of them, the piece of shit them for charge for treason. When you have a country, and them are talk about dedicate and show up, when them sell out, that's why them get them papers, that's why them pick me up papers. Go look for Michelle Charles, she renounce. She's gonna sit down in the house. But when you ban America, you're not supposed to even turn a politician about them. If you ban a Jamaica, and still in the now, you have got renounce back your thing because you got to take a paper. But our father, and they make them get paper. Yeah? And then depends on what them ban, because some of them ban over there, they're not supposed to sit down in the house. They're ban over there, you can't talk about no renounce, nothing. You're not supposed to renounce if you just go where. You understand? When you see them have a market, you say, we don't know. And if you give him powers to this, I will say, I got no one leader, one run up and down with a piece of shit. He never ban in the Commonwealth. If you know this, people never start beat them with this guy Seaga. And but don't even tired of us. 150 that. He assassinate man the 3 times he make a fine. Then shoot up Bob Marley. Seaga do it. Remember in the business that who run him do it, you know. And CIA, when them are used, them come to you. So when you give the order, it's you. You respond for everything. Knowledge of power. So the whole of this drop and Seaga show. No matter like what someone said, other man, the farm down your so Seaga do it. Seaga. You will like the man. He move and him poop on the banner Jamaica neither. Nobody follow a big dirty thinking queen nation. Them no band neither. But this is how them set out the place and them see man like show them look a dirty color. Now run out and chat shit. Me don't know how to listen to them. That's why I say no tabloid run here. Not my words. Only hear it from him one mouth. Yes, still right now, him run out and get too much. Remember, you know, You still have a little war going because China want to flex them muscle. And you full up the place with the Chinese, over 200,000 of them there. Right now. Them have them own police station. Them did all have them own vaccine the other day. Them request it. Them not chat to you, them just work out to people like Steve. I remember them not like black people. Not my word, you can go check it. Go check it. Because enough people don't know them truth, them history, you know. So them and go just live for eat some food and go by day by day. I don't know them falling in a trap. On the Trust and John in PR. Same like how I move Sir Manley. So Sir Manley don't have foolishness. Same, move Sir Manley. Same like how them run out with Christopher Tufton. I say he might the best performing minister. Not gonna say no. Christopher Tufton have a doctor and a business and them thing them the PR. So when them live on TV and radio and the PR. But people are dead in the hospital like fly. He might the worst performing minister in the history of Jamaica right now. Not the ministry of the worst. At the worst. Let me show you something. If you don't believe me, remember, and my word neither. See them away, not my word. Let me just play this and show no. Hey, Andrew, you're not going good enough. Let me just play this and show you some of the words. Look here. Tough tongue. Look here. Level 3. Remember, remember, I'm going to play level 3. Travel advisor. Travel, watch out. Let me show you something. Yesterday, them have him as the best.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Health Minister says U.S. medical travel advisory and negative light on the country's health sector.
Negative light, but another health sector alone. Now, this is the first time in our history, I can't tell you of this. This is the first time in our history. Under the National Security Ministry, and them always give for that, no drive through Carolina and drive through this. This is the health sector. If them did that one good, you think US are trying to help Jamaican right now, event US. Them put a travel advisory to the hospital and the nastiness where go and the people are dropping out. Dead. You understand? This no good none at all. No good. Bless it. Yes. Hold on, you want to talk? You want to talk? You want to talk? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Talk, man. Talk.
People, listen. Don't jump. Don't pass this that Edward Seaga. Spray the marijuana Jamaica with a banned substance from America. A substance where they can't use America in order to spray it. And from that time until now, cancer rate rising in Jamaica. That substance going in your water. We see people, animal dead. We even see people dead. So don't think you do a lot of things that is so bad for the country. It become a domino effect.
That's
going about and spreading propaganda that's Michael said brigadista. Right now, I can tell of a lot of people who all over the world, Jamaicans who all over the world, where they contribute to society, not Jamaica. The only contribution they might make to Jamaica, which work out for Jamaica, send back their money at that time when they help out Jamaica, right? And these are people who go under the same training program. They set you up to train them to come back to Jamaica.
You know people got trained. You know people got trained. The man says Lennox brigade, that name is communist. Why you send 1,000 people got trained, they kill you 1,000 people. Yes, still have the Cuban themselves by the thousands. I build the school them and the hospital and the daycare centers and the clinics and AMCs and these things. Them they the ability. So you never need for us to nobody of them dead. So we say I got chatted the lie. And I remember, you know, if me had the head for something and me get the order for assassinate Manley and Bob Marley, Mad Marley sing about it, you notice that it did worry them head, you know. Me have that too, you know. That's what I'm saying to the lyrics. So I'm telling you, say, him now Rasta now work for no CIA, don't mix me up, we now work for you. So them go shoot him. Same thing and him come do ambush in the night. Right? Them a fight for power, ambush in the night and try to kill me and right society. Who we them fighting for power. Yeah. And tell them brainwash with them spare parts, guns and money. You know how him know them. So anybody want to flip that, or you ever flip it and everything right there. You can't change history. Say I go kill Maso. Say I go turn around and kill in himself, kill Jimbo. Say I go do a lot of, and him na band them mad and him poop on a band and right. So him couldn't renounce because he wasn't listen. You're born in a different power country, you never born in a Commonwealth. You can't renounce. You're not supposed to even in a in the first place. And I like you be born in Jamaica and you get a citizenship you can renounce. You understand? If you go, man. Yeah.
I tell you, man, there was a catastrophe for Jamaica.
Yes.
I tell you.
And man, there was the head of the non-aligned movements. Non-alliance movements. Man, there was the head. And then I come up with the same backside thing like OPEC and them thing there, you know. See like OPEC, yeah. So I make sure you get them your money. Because first time them used to have them control it. And them used to get on go 40 million.
Yeah.
When him forced buy back, the man get 200 million. And him tell you, in a 73, when they have a recession, the same say, we never do this, we couldn't stand up. Again, up more at the backside, save them when the sugar cane money them go down and everything. But see, I go live on them like Mike and with them, they go carry and go take it over and tell the people them like to. Say them I can do this and that kind of thing. Right now, Jamaica are more communist than anything else because them full of them full of the communist.
Yeah, you have a full-fledged dictator around Jamaica, you know.
Yeah, with him, but the Chinese them full up the place too, you know. Them have them stupid police station, them have everything. You know what you know see them, but enough. Them take over everything in Jamaica. Saying? And you talk supermarket and all kind of things. You understand? If I'm me, you know, but if I do like come and do like come with the MC. So if I'm me now take you this and give them people the thing. And then them get to make money and then carry pay fake school them and I get them out. But I give my people them. Me no want you still for the start 40 years or 50 years to you though. Me want uplift you, I want change the thing. You understand?
But
anyway, me there.
Just talk about this brother, boy, I tell you.
No, I mean to go, man. I want you see them run out and talk about market, and talk about who do all citizens. See what them did have? Them take a piece of shit to put for money. Never born in Jamaica. So I talk about no dual and about him renounce. You can't tell me about no renounce because he's American. You're not supposed to see in our politics, none time. And that's fine. Right now, and the constitution not change. You can't buy America and come be nobody there. So don't tell me, oh, in the day of Jamaica can never renounce. And they, even if they renounce, so you can't go in our politics. Because you can't take up your thing back anytime. And at that time though, you see him stay there and him sell out to people, them use CIA and kill the people them. Him do it in front of our face, you know. And this big piece of shit I run out to talk about Marky G band. Yeah, brother, let me talk to you later, yeah?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Blessed. Go on, run the show.
Them thing I was we not play with him. See? Them should have charged for treason. You couldn't, hey, you think you could have banned America. And you go in one of them countries that set out America and do all them kind of little thing there. America, you in America do them thing, yeah. And you ban America, you tell them out to the next country. Yeah? And you ban, you ban the next country and you set out America and do something. They might deal with the case. They might deal with the case. See? Them people should have charged for treason. You should have charged for treason. I hear media say right and no, yeah.
Some just because it's
yeah. People are when ramping around here. Keep it real.
Violence. It's so quick, then you look something dig up the plan for daytime. But I want you to solve the one day. Me want you fix that. Because if I somebody them pay if you do that, me say me not even listen to all of the video. Trust me. Because I feel so upset. Oh, all of a sudden, look from when the election gone from February. So when them go find this stuff to dig up. I don't believe them and somebody them pay, but me know you will crack it. Because me I listen for you crack it this alone. So why you crack the case here? You know? And something them I look for plan for daytime. Especially big, stinking big mama. I like when you put her up on the pole. All right, sir. May I listen?
Yeah, but you see, when them go on. Remember say, but them open the place in and them have them vote and all kind of little things, you know. Then they could plant and not work. Not working. At time for straight them out Jamaican people want to run them way. You see, when them come with them little dirty things, so our gloves off, you know. Cause big dirty thinking fix barely. Him no good none at all, you know. So we are run with him completely, you know. Him no good. Catch his bully, you know, good, you know. Your wife you know that, you know. Other police will complain about you. More and go do your thing tomorrow. Because remember you use the hotel in a whole over for house, you know. Remember that catch his bully. Remember. Yes. For the woman turn fisher turn inspector. When you never get her paper, you tell her to come check you. And she come check you, get the practice, you go and bad in her practice, and then you look to get her paper. Then you call her every minute, she complain, say, you just down in her practice, so. It bad. Your wife feed you, your piece of shit, you. But man have cloth, your man have what kind of cloth, right? What kind of cloth? A cloth, a big cloth. No piece of shit. Hey, and the worst thing this, Christopher Tufton. He met the level 3 gone up. He met the travel advisory running at the place right now. Film ministry. Not my word. Look here. Remember when I want thing when I do not apply. We hold them by them word from last year. Look on this. Look here.
And here are the details. We begin with a response this afternoon from Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton about the U.S. advisory warning travelers about the poor state of the country's public health care system.
We never hear that in the history of U.S. yet. The state of the public health system. Remember how much people are dead now? But more are dead in the hospital per film watch. And him do the PR. Oh, him are the best performing for us come chat. Don't make him chicken. See that?
As you'll hear in this report, the minister is renewing his call for the implementation of tax, which he believes can help to fix the problem.
Tax! He must spend so much money about a tax and fix the problem. See that?
The healthcare ministry says the recent U.S. travel advisory has created a negative impact on the country's health system on the international scene. The advisory issued on Tuesday urged U.S. citizens to reconsider travel to Jamaica due to crime and medical services. Americans were told that emergency services and hospital care vary throughout Jamaica, and response times and quality of care may vary from U.S. standards. The U.S. government says public hospitals in Jamaica are under-resourced and cannot always provide high-level or specialized care.
So, the government said them spend the most money and them do this. You know, say I chop on money, people. You know, so when I drop on dead like fly. You know, so what them I do, them I go on and I use some little dirty thing. I mean, say anytime them come at PR, we are putting out the real thing from them. Them full of shit. Yeah. You understand? Them full of shit. We know in this with none of them. You understand? Nobody. None of them around there. You understand? Them full of shit. We are going to deal with them case. Look, hear this. The worst administrator in the history of the world. Yeah.
Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the issues in the health sector cannot be looked at in a silo.
The issue is a lot more complex than it appears in a release or an advisory. The solution can't be that we must do more. The solution has to recognize why there is an inadequacy to the extent that there is.
So I tell you that there is an inadequacy, not my word. But you don't see it, you don't see the woman just dead down there. You know so much people dead, you know so much people mash up. Him and the angling at the hospital make Jamaica get the level 3 travel advisory. And I know him not fix it. Nearly a year after. I know. Them not lift it. He might tell people in the diaspora say, lift it. And when him do, compounding and just chat. I'm gonna say him are the best. You remember what I say to him? You hear what I'm saying? Yeah.
And how collaboration between public, private, and indeed between jurisdictions can address that inadequacy. And it holds true for Jamaica as it does for many other small island states within the region, and indeed even some of the larger countries.
And again, an appeal for a health insurance tax for all visitors to the island.
It is not unusual. It occurs in other jurisdictions, like in Europe, where...
So, come on. Go outside. So I tell about not a news that I'm pay tax and them thing and all kind of thing, but the Jamaican people. So if them not come, you know how to fix the health system. If you don't get to tax them, you know how to fix the health system. Or you say you spend so much money and you have the partnership with people, but when people go to them still have to pay. You know the worst thing, more people dead in the hospital them than where I get gunshot. Not there. No two way about it. Look here. But you still have him as the best performing minister. Look here. Not my own. Look here. Hear this. So when them do PR, Sita, not my word, 2023, Sita, hear this. Hear this.
Of Jamaicans believe Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is the best performing minister in the government. He has consistently been so rated. That's according to the findings of the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools.
So that not good none at all. The poll level them at talk about is a big dirty thinking poll. So that poll are not good none at all. That a dirty thinking go poll. So this is a big dirty thinking line. I can move that to outside. Yeah? You might the best performing minister. This is a lie to the people of Jamaica. Yeah? Maybe only not sick for your time, but when you not get when the people sick there, when you go there, when you understand what we are saying. Not even medication. So the man dead there, 1 week without suffogation. Woman has to take off her head. Some people are here talk and say, no. But when them go there and go realize it, them realize how it's wicked. Yeah? But the worst thing, these are the things where them talk about. Yeah. Yeah, man. See? Them figure away. So none of them where you attack, I run out, hey, I run before run out one of them. We in a diaspora now in Jamaica. We don't want to hear from nothing from them. Them are shit. Them are shit. Straight flush. Yeah, man, straight flush. Them are shit. Big dirty thinking, mama are shit. Cats is bully are shit too. Yes. All of them are shit. Our grubs are finna, no grubs. Saying? Them are shit. It's bad. Saying? And who work with Seaga them for charge of treason to better. Yeah. You see me I say it? That me I tell the brother man. Yes, Christopher. Saying? This is what I talk about. Them set the bar very low for true. Because if him are the best performing out of them, but I lie them I tell pan. Remember, you know, you have more people. If you hear so now the stroke a kill over 2,400. That are more than we are dead by the gun. See? So right away tell you say now, so and them I say, hey, preventable, you know. But when the people them come in, or them treat the people them, you're dead with a stroke, face lean up, and everything, can't talk or nothing. You know, get nothing, you have the money to pay for no scan. And you sit down there, you can't get a bed, sit down in a chair with a stroke with your face broke down and everything. And you sit down there for 1 week, dead. You better have to strong and start, and you don't have nothing. You don't have the money for buy medication, dead. Hospital now have none. You don't even have toilet tissue. And the man cock up like acrobat on TV all the time. And the pan, we do this and we do that. And we spend 100 million, but you not see the money, them thief it. Them thief it. Our people are dead left, right, and center. The worst government of the history of the world is. The worst, but that's thing be. Are the worst. Bruce might run the thing in the bank, but Bruce never go like him. Are the worst. Are the truth. Yes. What we speak truth to power, not true. Eh? Are the worst. See? Yeah, them are kill people left, right, and center. Everything come out people, hey, the amount of people. But the man that say, you know, if you're dead by this, but them are dead. Them are dead. The dialysis machine are dead. Him say, him give out this, but when you go there, you have to pay money. So them are us, and them, you look, and them friend of the dead, the thing they were to do the autopsy. So they make a bag of money after that too. So all them do is sitting and chop money. Tufton are the worst performing minister in Jamaica right now. And not me say it, you know. If look, listen, last year, make them tell you how much money them get from 1.8 billion after the hotel. Not 2.8. It dropped because visitor drop, you know. because a tough time him bad angling at the hospital. No people now come, them turn back. Yeah. Right now the cost of living is so high. In Jamaica, the cost of living is so high. 5,000 Jamaican come in like $20 US. Everything themselves a price. Yeah. Price half. Yeah. US dollar. So them price half of the US dollar, everything themselves. Okay, Levi. Okay. See? That shows that the country is serious. You know, listen, you might the worst, you know, Trish. But if you tell me, say, the country the best, but you a fame thing, not my word. See, not my word. See, I hear him now if them raise some liquor money. It will show you if them raise some travel tax. But you still one hospital matter 21.8 billion. And so me spend this, and me spend the most money. See, children him talk about it, not even pill, them thief, the woman pill, woman mother pill. $95,000 for 1 week. Oh, not survive. And no for one blood pressure. How do I survive? 95,000 for 1 week. Doctor tell her she want 3 weeks. No. If you have high blood pressure, it do you like that. You know, you want them there till you're dead. So 3 weeks away when I have to go back to square one. Eh? 3 weeks. 3 weeks supply, you know. $285,000 that, you know. 15,000 less 300,000, you know. Got 95,000 for 1 week, you know. So $285,000 you have to find for 3 weeks. Yeah? They make the woman sit down and dead. And then them do PR. And you say I'm the best performing minister. If you're the best performing and when you're the worst, I don't know where you want to think that from people head. The best performing minister, you know, I draw down Jamaica, you know, make travel advisory, then put travel advisory upon Jamaica right now, cut tourism and cut enough earning enough thing. The best performing minister in a film watch turn out to be the worst piece of shit. And them never see that. Because them do PR and you ignore it. Remember where I speak truth to power? You know, I go on there. Not my word. Not my word. You can't tell me, you know, if you're the best performing minister, which other minister make them drop the travel advisory and stick it? Yeah? Well, detrimental to Jamaica. If you run Jamaica like a brand inside our country, you are going to end up with the result we see in the health sector. Yeah. The term brand Jamaica should not be used. Jamaica. Yeah, we're there. Isn't a business. Thank you, sir. We tell them all the while it's a country, so you can't have something named brand about brand. You ever hear them say brand America? A brand Canada, a brand UK. Them don't do that. You see? You don't do that. You can't come about brand Jamaica. This is all them big stink and fool. If you look at a country, nobody else not doing that. You talk about, yes, your earth brand Jamaica. Earth what? And I like when me do it broadcast and everybody see it, but when we want to do no broadcast and nobody not see it. People say, everybody did that for the bed. Everybody has everything. We not stink. We not shit. Yes. Yes. You see? Them to go away, man. You understand? Them to stop take chat from these people. Hey, one thing you must take chat from now, no criminal, no rapers, no pedophile, no farmer, then you go call them government. No drugs pushers and them thing they call them government and them compose up front of you. I want to tell you what they want to tell you. Me no listen to them there. Because you can't tell me if you have fight crime and when you look up here, criminal you have all the barbers and some pirates. And you talk about government. Government are backside. And there are criminals that are government own up. They can't call pirate government. And when you look, some humanize and some catches bully and all kind of things in a police force. That makes sense? Eh? That don't make no sense. See? And then them team up and try to trick the people, them and chat down to the people. Then. Master people, and rise up against them. Talk to them, I want to get them out. Stop using and clean clocks and them things that you don't do it. This them and this, you know. You understand? Have something about you, man. See? Them, anytime they run up about market, you just remind them about That one, yeah. I'm gonna mind them, they have just sit down in there. Yeah? Where I know them not renounce. Seaga can't renounce. Him not invited. Seaga try to kill Bob Marley, shoot him up, and him, because him are the leader. So no matter when them pick out one way, you can't pick out the head. Because we don't, them and him reject it, them now come down to the youth, them like that. And when them talk about Marxists, if you ever read Marxists, because when Batiste did I run Cuba, him did lock up Castro them before. But Batista, him did that please the colonial rulers. But him that hurting people them. And free Castro them and them brother and free one them come back, come whap him and take it over. You see? We know about that too. Of course, so you can go look on it, go Google it and go look on it then. No, we used to live in the wilderness, but remember they can't trick with nothing. Oh, I know the illicit six. So them come out with all kind of things that rob the money and I know the Prime Minister can't declare him thing. And you look on a Jamaica talk about denounce with them no piece of shit self. And if you go, man, you understand? I'm not for no back with Seaga from them days of a chance of treason. You can't do no other country, so look, you know. Look, you know. You have the guy there. Want to look, you know. See? Yeah, man. I want to forget a lawsuit, you know. Yeah. Yeah, man. See the dirty whale mouth one put out this year. Him forget a lawsuit too. Yeah. See? I put out Mark wife. I say Mark wife are 49. And Mark that wow. This is the next productive one put it out. Yeah. Yes. Mark wife older than Juliet Holness. And she older 1 year older than her husband. That Juliet Holness older than Andrew Holness. She was 71. Andrew Holness wife by 71. She in by 72, don't. Mark wife older than Andrew Holness. Older than Juliet Holness too. So you see, when you know what Mark I do, just walk with him and just stay with phone case on a piece of shit. You know. I remember, you know, because the lady just took her right. Because sin no depend on her. Sin depend uno. Sin depend uno, man. Because the a matter of fact, you just send that to me and I show them something. See, Angela, them wife, yeah. Angela, let me show you and your wife. When you tell me that picture you look, people. Tell me that picture you look happy, yeah? Look for that picture. It's Angela and wife. That's why me show you my wife too. But look for Angela and wife. So Angela and wife, look at. This look like a look on fair face and look on thin face. Look on a pose here. That makes sense? Look there. Look on the eye turn and look where I go. That makes sense? She has smiled at having about look on him face. You wanna see it? You know it don't make sense, Tony, you know. Yes. So Andrew have the sperm wheel and send out and attack foolishness again. So them forget last week. Let me see Mr. Holness' wife. Yeah? Because Mr. Holness, Mr. Golden wife. We are talking about Mr. Holness. The lie that's sitting. Let me see Mr. Golden wife. Let me see Mr. Golden wife. She look enough time younger than them. Look here. Look for Mr. Golden wife now and look for Andrew's wife. And look for Andrew himself. Look for the man wife. The man wife older than Juliet Holness, and Juliet Holness older than Andrew. Some you don't chat. See Mrs. Golden there, you know. Yes. She look more younger than Andrew. Andrew. She older smarter for you and older than Juliet. We never ask. Look on that. And them I put out bag of classes. Because I did one not play, nobody not play that we don't know. Only if you go to prison. Yeah, man. You understand? Them to go to prison. Too much of this, too much money chop. Eh? Too much money chop, man. Eh? Yeah, too much money chop. Yes. So you have a big dirty thinking sperm whale. When them they call him name in there, yes. Dirty thinking sperm whale, you know. So them that were Andrew talk about when them go low, we go high. And yes, when you look, a few minister them a push out false information. We all them with things like this for them can't take. I used to the more them turn it up, we turn it up on them, kind of for them a rape, you know. I want enough thing them are doing, you know. Me have them file, you know. As I'm run out, me joke them. Me have them file, man. Me have some things I see. Wait when them get my wait when it made cheap, I'm fling out something with some evidence. Look how me look, you supposed to see them can't have man. Me have them file, man. I wait for them, because all gloves off from the gloves. Because I'm find it and I'll show me through it. Done with it and sit there. All gloves off. Yeah, man. Now I'm put them. Yeah, but now, yeah, man. Now I'm put them. And I can tell them again, this big dirty thinking sperm whale where you say push out your sock. As I said before, Sherma one wife older than Andrew one his wife. And Andrew one his wife older than Andrew. So they might put out about the lady at 49 because she look even younger than that. She carry herself good. But you see the amount of thing when them do the sin and ride them, that's why they look so old, you know. Remember Andrew them and all people, you know. Him and his wife, you know. Then that be like little brother and sister. Them and all people. Don't it? But look how they look. Eh? You see him face and look right, don't it? Alright. Done chat. See? Me done chat, you know. Me there, you know. Later. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Anytime them run out people, you have to rush them. Rush them. Rush the nastiness them. Come tell them to go declare them asset and all kind of things. Anything with them draw 5 members, you have to give them 100 for peace and join them. And catch it, bully. Me for do the thing boy tomorrow, you know. Yeah, because I have some other things. Because you can't just leave say your wife to know these things. You know, for the police want them get the liquor paper from sergeant to the inspector. You live down in too much. Police woman are complain about your man. You know, you have scratches, you have too much of the year, man. You get the one little piece of paper every minute to call them, carry the crutches come. You cannot do that better. If you go, man, you know, man, have no clock on you, man. Zane, so we are worried with it. We're offering the name out and everything. I remember we have the thing, them, man. We tell you, the wife, you know, man. Zane, you know, he's none at all. Anyway, the renegade, you know, we're not afraid, you know, so, you know, our things set already. Zane, yeah, man, all gloves off. Them want gloves off, give them the gloves off.
We in lump sum, we a beat it till they are my bane. We now make them get in and them and again. None of them boy, we none of them. We alone some rise up the bomber.
General Fort, they said no, we not take off up the cock up. From the other day, them face them a puff up like they 3 little pig and the unfair off up. If them flip like a fool and leave them get crushed up. Meta, shut your beat, no speak, you meta hush up. Street furniture, everything's a get dust up. Limbs and shove, everything's a get brush up. When you see original Eastman, you must not fuck away. Lyrically inclined, be a metaphor, so no listen to. That to show you how low Andrew and the mini and them is, you know. And them big and fool. Them just last week, all of them for all these things. And them big stink and fool. I remember that sperm whale. You know sperm whale for that Yeah, you know, so sperm weight. Yeah, man. And you have some of them on the way, them garden have be a seed and it can't grow. So, yeah, you know, seed stunted. Yeah, so you can't too follow them. Them they have sperm weight. Them to get last week. Anyway, me out. Bless.